Do you think it's possible that maybe you thought you weren't good at anything, but you accidentally conjured up a spell to turn your ass so smooth? Alex, do you think back in ancient times when a Mesopotamian was dying of throat cancer, the village doctor came by with some herbs and also pulled a rabbit out of a hat and said, "You feel any better yet?" Blaine was entombed in an underground plastic box underneath a 3-ton water-filled tank for 7 days. The title of the stunt was Buried Alive. Harrison Ford picked the card, showed the camera, did not show David Blaine. David Blaine snapped his finger and pointed at an orange. Harrison Ford picked up the orange, sliced it open, and the card he picked was in that orange.
Is Dr. Buster on this list?
Now, I know what you're thinking. He's got to be a magician.
That booty clap. How do you do it? How does it work? Defies physics.
Jocelyn Whitehead, he asked Houdini if he believed in the miracles of the Bible. He just starts wailing away on Houdini's lower abdomen, like between the winky and the tummy. Abracadabra, alakazam. For my next trick, I will introduce you to the magical Alex Johns. Alex, please don't disappear today because I need you for my grand finale. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm feeling magical.
Are you?
Yes,
You know,
sir.
I was thinking about it. The only thing really I could say, like, definitively magic about you is that smooth-skinned bum on you.
It defies physics. It defies, anything.
Right. Like, a magic trick, there's, it might look real, but there's usually an explanation. But I don't have an explanation for your bum. It is just ungodly smooth.
A true magician never reveals his secrets.
It's true. Alex, how do you feel about magic?
It's a load of bullshit.
Whoa! Alex, you can't drop a take that hot right out of the gate.
Okay,
here.
so what are we talking? Are we talking like, Harry Potter? Are we talking like elves and stuff like Lord of the Rings? Are we talking like you're a fucking magician down the street pulling a rabbit out of the hat?
That.
Hell yeah. When I was a kid, I had a magic set, and I so wanted to be a magician, but I did not have the perseverance to actually get good at anything, and I never walked down that path.
You could have just ended the sentence there. You never had the perseverance to be good at anything, period.
This is true.
Just ended there, yeah.
This is true.
Do you think it's possible that maybe you thought you weren't good at anything, but you accidentally conjured up a spell to turn your ass so smooth? Like, unknowingly, right?
That I would not surprise me.
Alex, I don't want you to do this out loud, but could you name a few magicians if you had to?
A few.
Okay, I sure hope so, because that's what you're guessing today.
Oh, fuck.
The greatest magicians of all time.
Okay. All time. So, like, not living, but, like, any time.
Yeah, but the list is pretty skewed to modern magicians.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you about it. So, how do you determine the greatest magician of all time, right? I went to ranker.com. They asked their readers, who is the most famous magician ever? And 84,000 votes on Ranker determined the list you're gonna guess today. I also use references from websites dedicated to the art of magic, like hobbylark.com, christopherhowell.net, magicianscorner.co.uk, and I also pulled some stuff from Wikipedia.
ChristopherHowell.net. I imagine that's just some fucking guy that just likes magic.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know. It's just like that's the definitive source of magic statistics. It's just some fucking guy who makes a website.
Shout out to Christopher Howell, listener of the show.
Yeah.
Now, the list is skewed toward recent history. There's some reasons for that. One, just recency bias of these voters, but also we don't know a ton about early magicians. We know they were there, but we don't know about individual magicians, But we know magic as a performing art has been around for thousands of years. More on that in a minute. And while it's true that you probably can't guess all 10 of these guys, I'll bet you can guess 4 or 5 of them, and the rest I'll just tell you and help you out. So, Alex, do you have a favorite magic trick? Like a staple magic trick?
I love the classic rabbit out of the hat.
Mm-hmm.
Just where'd that rabbit come from?
How do they do it, Alex?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know? I'm going to tell you about the history of magic, including tricks like that. Magic, which encompasses the subgenres of illusion, stage magic, and close-up magic, among others, is a performing art in which audiences are entertained by tricks, effects, or illusions of seemingly impossible feats. It is to be distinguished from paranormal magic, like Harry Potter, which are effects claimed to be created through supernatural means. And performance magic is one of the oldest performing arts in the world. Performances that modern observers would recognize as conjuring have been practiced throughout history. For example, a trick with 3 cups and balls.
I got 3 cups in a ball for you.
That trick has been performed since at least 3000 BC and is still performed on stage and in street magic shows. I just saw people doing this shit in Rome.
Yeah.
Actually, it was Paris. A few weeks ago in Paris, I saw someone trying to get you to come up and pay money to guess which cup the ball was under.
There's so much of that shit in Paris that people just wanting you to come. Anyway.
Magic has been used in many cultures throughout history. For example, the ancient Mesopotamians made no distinction between rational science and magic. When a person became ill, doctors would prescribe both magical formulas to be recited as well as medicinal treatments. Alex, do you think back in ancient times when a Mesopotamian was dying of throat cancer, the village doctor came by with some herbs and also pulled a rabbit out of a hat and said, "You feel any better yet?"
It's pretty likely.
I mean, magicians are known for closely guarding the methods that they use to achieve their effects, although they often share this techniques when they're training other magicians. Magicians use a variety of techniques, including sleight of hand, misdirection, optical and auditory illusions, as well as verbal and nonverbal psychological techniques such as suggestion, hypnosis, and priming. And if you see a good magic show, it really is incredible because you and I both sitting here know none of it's real. It's not truly magic, but the really good ones can make it so convincing that you're like, how the fuck did they do that? And you don't know. And that's the beauty of it. Just like
I was going to say, you ever seen the show Arrested Development? Anyway, Will Arnett's character, he's a magician in the show, and it's just a lot of funny. Never mind.
I'll have to take your word for it.
It's great.
Sounds great. Now, Alex, one of the earliest known books to explain magic secrets was The Discovery of Witchcraft, published in 1584. It was created by Reginald Scott to stop people from being killed for witchcraft. Because people, I guess, were doing magic tricks, and that was witchcraft, apparently, and you were of the devil.
You'd think they come get you, and you're like, no, I promise it was fake. Well, show us how. A magician never reveals a secret.
And then they drag them. They say, all right, asshole, time to go burn at the stake.
Take my secrets to the grave.
For many recorded centuries, magicians were associated with the devil and the occult. During the 19th and 20th centuries, many stage magicians even capitalized on this notion in their advertisements. That's why a lot of magicians are like dark, right? And in the late 19th and 20th centuries, magicians such as, I won't name them because it's a spoiler, but several prominent magicians during that time achieved widespread commercial success during what has become known as the Golden Age of Magic, a period in which performance magic became a staple of Broadway, theater, vaudeville, and music halls. Magic used to be kind of a street art. You know, you'd see it in an alleyway or you'd see it in a town square. And it kind of graduated from that to be like what you see now in Vegas, right? Like these huge productions. So that happened during the 19th and 20th centuries. And magic has retained its popularities in the 21st century with television and the internet, which brings us finally to today. I'm going to stop talking for a minute. Alex, are you ready to get down with the devil and talk about his favorite magicians?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to guess. I'm going to get all 10 in the correct order.
Oh my God.
No questions
If you
asked.
do that, I will literally change my name to whatever you want, and I'll sign away the rights to Tennis Podcast to you. I'll mow your lawn every day or every week for the rest of my life, whatever you want. If you guess all these 10 in a row, let's see it.
All right.
Try to save number one. The most famous, probably you know who it is.
I'd like to ask, is number one living or dead?
No, he's dead.
Okay. I'll save number one. All right. So it's top 10, right?
Mm-hmm. And this is basically, again, people were asked who's the most famous magician, alive or dead. 84,000 votes determine this ranking.
Who's that guy with the website?
Let me tell you, Alex, because that is the definitive source of all performance magic news and art. Christopher Howell.
Christopher Howell. Is he on the list?
He's not.
Okay.
Maybe someday. God, I don't know why he's being such a dick to Christopher Howell just because he has a website where he shares his passion on magic.
Unsubscribe from this show.
No, Christopher Howell. Stay. I love you, Christopher Howell. Couldn't have done this list without you.
Is Dr. Buster on this list?
Now, I know what you're thinking. He's got to be a magician.
That booty clap. How do you do it? How does it work? Defies physics?
Remember I told you that we're talking today about performance magic, which is different than paranormal magic, which is used creating supernatural means. It's the only way to explain that.
And we've confirmed that this is paranormal magic that powers
the booty clap.
The booty clap. Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay. Fair. All right. How about a real guess? I'm thinking.
No, not interested in your real guesses.
Is David Blaine on this list?
David Blaine. Tell the folks at home, Alex, who is David Blaine? You familiar with his work?
He's a magician. He does a lot of card tricks, I think. I think he has a YouTube channel where he does stuff like that. Was he the guy that did
a lot?
Yeah, did he do like a big underwater, like in a tank thing?
He's done a bunch of shit. Let me tell you.
He's done a lot of shit. I think he's jumped out of a plane. Like, he's done a lot of shit.
David Blaine is number 4 on this list. He was born in 1973, and he's still kicking today somehow. Let me tell you about some of his shit. First, quick background. He's an illusionist, magician, mentalist, and endurance performer. He gained prominence in 1997. Let's see, he would have been 24 at that time. When his first television special, David Blaine's Street Magic, aired on ABC. He's been on a ton of shit since then. He's known for his dangerous stunts, and in 2008, he attempted to break the Guinness World Record for breath holding. He succeeded in holding his breath for, what do you think the world record is for that? Holding your breath.
8 minutes.
17 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
And 4 seconds.
Crazy.
A new world record, at least as of 2008. How is that possible?
Just rigorous training.
Is that an illusion, you think? I mean,
No.
or is that like a legitimate?
That's legitimate. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
To have a Guinness Book of World Record.
Yeah. I think it's real, but I don't get it. I honestly think I would pass out if I tried for like 2 minutes. You know?
Well, I mean, it's just training day after day. Just go a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. I mean, that's just the determination. Like I said, I don't have the wherewithal to stick around and actually get good at something like that.
No, we established you are good at nothing.
Exactly.
For your whole life.
Exactly.
Now, in April 1999, Blaine was entombed in an underground plastic box underneath a 3-ton water-filled tank for 7 days. This is across from Trump Place in New York. The title of the stunt was Buried Alive. BBC News reported that the plastic coffin that he was in had 6 inches of headroom and 2 inches on each side. So 6 inches this way, like this, above his head, 2 inches like this. So he's in a coffin where he basically cannot move. For 7 days he's in here. And on the final day of the stunt, hundreds of news teams were stationed at the side of the coffin opening. A team of construction workers removed a portion of the 75 cubic feet of gravel surrounding the coffin before a crane lifted the water tank. He emerged and told the crowd, "I saw something very prophetic, a vision of every race, every religion, every age group banding together, and that made all this worth."
Some hippie bullshit.
What do you got to say to that, Alex?
I just that's impressive, but why? Why do it? Why put yourself through that? No one forced them to do this.
25 years later, we're talking about it. Almost to the day, in fact.
Oh, man. He was on Hot Ones a couple years ago. You know, you're familiar with Hot Ones, the YouTube show?
The Hot Wing challenge, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and his on Wing 10, he did a card trick and pulled a fucking pepper out of the card. It was pretty cool.
I saw one. I watched a bunch of these on YouTube. And by the way, I'll say now, while you're listening to this episode, check the show notes, that little episode description on whatever podcast player you're listening to. There's a link to YouTube videos for every one of these magicians. Well, except 1 or 2 where there was no video around yet. But most of these magicians, you can see a video. There's some of David Blaine's magic is there now on a link on YouTube. But I saw one, which is in this link, where he was at Harrison Ford's house. He was in Harrison Ford's kitchen. Don't know why. It was for some television special. And he walked in. He had Harrison Ford pick a card from a deck. Harrison Ford picked the card, showed the camera, did not show David Blaine. David Blaine snapped his finger and pointed at an orange in a fruit bowl in the kitchen. Harrison Ford picked up the orange, sliced it open, and the card he picked was in that orange.
Jesus.
How? Tell me how, Alex.
That's just crazy.
Anyway, I'm going to tell you one more stunt that Blaine did. In November 2000, he performed a stunt called Frozen in Time, where he attempted, and failed, to stand in a large block of ice located in Times Square for 72 hours. So this is one of those stunts where passersby, just tourists in New York, people in New York could walk by and see him doing this. He was lightly dressed and appeared to be shivering even before the blocks of ice were placed around him. A tube supplied him with water and air, while his urine was removed with another tube. He was encased in the box of ice for 63 hours before being removed with chainsaws. The ice was transparent, so people could see inside the whole time. He was removed and taken to the hospital. The New York Times reported that the magician who emerged from the increasingly unstable icebox seemed a shadow of the confident, robust, shirtless fellow who entered 2 days before. In 2010, though, a magician from Israel named Houdini broke the record when he stayed for an additional 3 hours for 66 hours in the ice total. So, Alex, can I sign you up for the next stand on ice for 3 days?
Hell no.
Experiment?
I don't even like when it gets to 40 degrees.
Hey, I'm with you. But yeah, he did it. And here we are talking about it, so I guess he got what he wanted out of it. David Blaine, he's still around, he's still kicking.
You seen that old 90s movie about the magicians that keep trying to one-up each other? I think it's from the 90s. Had what was that actor?
Is it like a movie or like a documentary?
It was a movie. It was a movie. It was a good movie. I think it was a Christopher Nolan movie.
Oh, you're thinking of the I have that somewhere in here.
The
Prestige.
The Prestige, yeah.
Yes.
That was a good movie.
I've not seen it, but another magician on this list was the magic consultant for that movie.
Oh, they had a magic consultant.
Mm-hmm.
What about that movie where those fucking magicians go to rob a bank? It's Jesse Eisenberg is like the lead actor. Do you think they had a magic consultant?
Yes, the exact same magician. The same magician that was the consultant.
He should be fucking embarrassed of himself.
This magician on The Prestige was also the magician on Now You See Me,
Now
1
You
and 2.
See Me. That was such a fucking stupid premise.
Alex! God damn, these hot takes are scorching. You know, these hot takes could have warmed David Blaine up while he was freezing on the ice.
Poor David Blaine.
Let's talk about this magician. Oh, wait, ask your question first.
Do you think he pooped in the ice?
I don't think so, because if he had, everyone would have seen it. And he wasn't eating. He was only drinking water during that time.
I'd be so hungry.
I didn't put it in here, but there was some other stunt he did where he didn't eat for like 30 or more days as like a hunger stunt.
Crazy. Anyway, yeah, let's talk about the Now You See Me asshole.
Yeah. He's an extremely famous magician, also named David something.
Oh, is that Copperfield?
David Copperfield.
Okay.
Do you think he is higher or lower than Mr. Blaine?
I'd say lower.
He is number 3.
Oh.
Blaine was 4. Copperfield is 3. This Now You See Me asshole, as Alex put it, was born in 1956. He's known professionally as David Copperfield, not his real name. He's an American magician described by Forbes as the most commercially successful magician in history. He has a net worth of almost $1 billion. He started his career at just 12 years old. He's best known for his combination of storytelling and illusion, and his career of over 40 years has earned him 11 Guinness World Records, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and knighthood by the French government. But who fucking hasn't been knighted by the French government, am I right?
Right.
He has been named a living legend by the U.S. Library of Congress. But again, who hasn't? As of 2006, so this is, almost 20 years ago now, but as of 2006, he had sold 33 million tickets and grossed over $4 billion, more than any other solo entertainer of any kind in history by a large margin. Now, his illusions have included have you heard of any of this shit? I've watched some of this. It's incredible. He had the disappearance of a Learjet in 1981, the vanishing and reappearance of the Statue of Liberty. Did you see this?
No, how the fuck
He got
do you do
a
that?
group of people, I think they were on a boat. He took them out to the Statue of Liberty. They dropped a huge curtain in front of their eyes, and when they lifted it, the Statue of Liberty was gone.
It just is fucking gone.
It's
Okay.
gone. And they lowered the curtain again, and the Statue of Liberty was back. And
Where'd he put it?
Alex, I don't know. He said about that, he explained in front of the camera why he wanted to perform the illusion. He said he wanted people to imagine what it would be like if there were no liberty or freedom in the world today, and what the world would be like without the freedom. Alex is shaking his head, by the way. What the world would be like without the freedoms and rights we enjoy. Copperfield then brought the statue back, ending the illusion by saying that our ancestors couldn't enjoy the rights and freedoms that we and our children.
What a fucking joke. What year was this?
1983, year of our Lord.
All right, that's some 80s shit. That tracks.
Alex. Okay, well, if you're not impressed with that, he also levitated over the Grand Canyon in 1984.
Big whoop, so did I.
Dr. Buster could do that with booty clap propulsion. And he also, this is the one I watched. It's on YouTube. It's going to be in the show notes for our listeners. He walked through the Great Wall of China in 1986. Have you seen
Through
that?
it, like through the rock?
There was a crowd of people there watching. They put up this white, it looks like a changing room tent, like a privacy, like something people change behind in a dressing room. They put that up in front of this section of the wall. And it was see-through, so you could see him through it. And he's not there. And then all of a sudden he appears out of the wall sideways, like he's breaking his way through it. It reminded me of Jim Carrey being birthed by the rhino in Ace Ventura. He's doing that, but with the Great Wall of China, and he's pulling himself through it. Now, you're not seeing him break through the rock because there's a screen there. So there's some trick to it, obviously, but I don't know how he did it. He also escaped from Alcatraz prison in 1987, and he did a bunch of other shit too. He said that I wanted to take magic and make it romantic and sexy and make it funny and make it goofy. All the different things that a songwriter gets to express or a filmmaker gets to express. And this approach, despite its obvious popularity with audiences, has its share of detractors within the magic profession. One magician has described Copperfield's stage presentations as, quote, resembling entertainment the way Velveeta resembles cheese.
I guess that kind of makes sense because like historically magicians are like serious, right? Like, ooh, this is serious stuff. But like, now, like Copperfield and more modern magicians are like, make it funny. And so, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, but which one of those magicians has $1 billion and which one doesn't?
Right. Yeah.
I think there's a middle ground there, but...
Right.
Yeah. So in 2011, he joined the cast of the feature film Burt Wonderstone with Steve Carell, Jim Carrey, and others. He was the illusionist consultant on that, as well as the consultant on The Prestige, Now You See Me, Now You See Me Too. When not performing, He manages his chain of 11 resort islands in the Bahamas.
Oh, okay.
And speaking of islands, in 2024, he was listed as one of the associates of American financier and sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. So apparently there's allegations that he was on Epstein's list. Yes.
Oh, shit. R.I.P.
R.I.P. David Copperfield. So whose magic show would you rather be in the front row for? David Copperfield or David Blaine?
Oh, David Blaine for sure.
Why?
I don't know much about Copperfield. I mean,
he made the Statue of Liberty disappear right before your eyes,
and then he went
you're
on
like,
some fucking
show me the guy that can hold his
bullshit.
breath. Okay, but remember Blaine, when he came out of the crypt after 7 days, he said, I saw something very prophetic.
Hey, at least his message was something that like I could actually get behind.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Blaine is just, I don't know, he's cool. He shows up on a bunch of YouTube channels that I follow, hot ones, and, knows how to reach audiences.
Yeah. Do you know how to reach another guess?
Yeah, how about the guy, there's two of them. There's the big guy and the little guy. Penn and Teller?
Penn and Teller, you got it, exactly. I did lump them together as one act.
Okay.
Where do you think they rank?
They're not number 2, are they?
Alex, did you just perform a magic trick? How did you know? Whoa. The magnificent Alex Johns, everyone. He correctly guesses number 2, Penn and Teller. They Penn, born in 1955, and Teller in 1948. They occupy the same slot, number 2, because they almost exclusively work as a pair. They are a comedy act as well. Penn, what are their names, by the way? I keep saying Penn and Teller. That's what they're known as, but Penn is Penn Jillette, and Teller is Raymond Joseph Teller. Okay, but they're known as Penn and Teller. They have a comedy magic show. Penn is the loudmouth, which contrasts Teller's silence. Teller barely talks. The pair often reveal segments of their tricks, allowing the audience to believe the secrets have been uncovered, only to astound them with a new surprise. The humor belies the genius, sleight of hand, and ingenuity the pair possess. The duo has been featured in a ton of stage shows in Vegas, and they have TV shows, blah, blah, blah. Alex, maybe you and I should try this, where you just let me talk and you shut the fuck up enough for me to get through an episode. You can be Teller and just not talk. He nods his approval. Besides magic, the pair has been associated with the advocacy of scientific skepticism and libertarianism, particularly through their TV show Penn and Teller Bullshit. That's what it's called. Penn and Teller, bullshit.
I guess that tracks for magicians that have fucking questionable thought processes. Anyway,
we're 3 out of 3 on magicians having questionable thought processes.
Hey, I got nothing wrong with David Blaine. He's just a little hippie bullshit, but that's fine.
I didn't go into it, but there was a lot of criticism on David Blaine for his smug attitude. Apparently, he's an asshole that rubs every other magician the wrong way.
I could see it.
But he rubs Alex John's smooth bum the right way. Well, that's it from Penn and Teller. They're kind of boring. They're still around. They still got shows and shit.
They have any like signature tricks or anything like that? I don't know much about them.
I watched a little of their stuff on YouTube, and it was all to me, it was kind of just standard fare, like card tricks and, pulling shit out of shit, and nothing like making the Statue of Liberty disappear.
Listener, they call me Dr. Buster for a reason. It's because I have a PhD in both podcasting and in psychology and in whooping Nick's ass up and down every 10-ish list. I love to read books dealing with psychology. It's part of my profession and keeping up with the cutting edge in the field. That's why I've launched a new mini podcast called The Book Buster. That podcast is where I provide quick reviews of the latest psychology and self-help books, just like The Moral Landscape by Sam Harris or Dopamine Nation by Anna Lemke. Each episode provides a review in less than 10 minutes, and I share what I'll be checking out next so that you, listener, can get involved and read that book and experience it before I cover it on the next episode. I hope you'll check it out, and who knows, you might just find your next great read. The Book Buster releases on the third Friday of every month, exclusively for 10ish Pod Plus members. Go to 10ish Pod, that's 10ishpod.com/plus to get a free 7-day trial. They told me there was nothing free in this life. They were lying.
You might have trouble from here, but I'll help you. Is there any other magicians?
Yeah, I'll guess number 1. I'm pretty confident number 1 is Harry Houdini.
It is, but I want to talk about him later.
Okay.
I'll give you credit for guessing him. Do you have any others?
Other magicians. Any, actors that also are magicians? That you know of them as actors?
Harry Houdini.
Was he an actor? I didn't know that.
He was.
Like, doesn't like Neil Patrick Harris dabble in magic or something weird like that?
Yeah, he does, I think. But
Yeah,
he's not on
okay.
here. There is nobody like that, but several of these guys have like TV shows and stuff. Like, or one of them's on a reality show as like a judge.
Oh, yeah.
Let me give you a hint on 10. 10 is also the son of a magician. We have a father and a son both on this list.
Oh, fun.
Number 10 is the son. He's junior. He is estimated to have pulled 80,000 rabbits from his sleeves and hats.
Shit, a lot of rabbits.
Does he ring any sort of bells? He, what else can I tell you? He's dead. He died in 1997.
Oh.
Okay, I'll
So-
tell you. It's Harry Blackstone Jr.
Never heard of him.
He's number 10. He's a stage musician, author, TV performer, 80,000 rabbits. Where'd all these rabbits go? I hope they got good homes after he was using them for his shows. He is the son of a noted stage magician, also on this list, known as the Great Blackstone. We'll talk about him next, I guess. As an infant, he was used as a prop in his father's act. Isn't that cute?
Gotta start early.
In his performances, Blackstone Jr. used several of his father's tricks and illusions, including the floating light bulb, sawing a woman in half, and the dancing handkerchief. And in 1985, he donated to the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C., the original floating light bulb, designed and built by Thomas Edison. This was the first donation accepted by the Smithsonian in the field of magic.
The sawing a woman in half trick is pretty neat. I think I don't feel like you see that much anymore.
No, and I have some research on that. There's another magician. It might even be this guy's dad. Where is it? Yeah, it is. When we talk about him, I'll talk about that trick some more. At the time of his death, Blackstone Jr. was the most highly awarded magician of all time, but he did die early at age 62 due to pancreatic cancer. I guess he couldn't conjure his way out of that
Couldn't
one.
find a trick to beat cancer.
No.
Damn. What you think? Like with a magician, you want to go out with a bang, right? Not to fucking pancreatic cancer.
No. But the big C gets us all in the end.
Yep.
You'd think he'd want to be sawed in half instead. I wonder, I should have looked this up, I did not. But I wonder how many times, because sawing a person in half is a magic trick, but how many times in perfecting that trick did people actually get sawn in half, you know?
I'm sure never, because like it isn't it like it's two separate people and you're scrunched up in there. That's like the trick.
Well, that's one version of it, but so let's talk about his dad. So that was Harry Blackstone Jr. at 10. His dad,
Harry Blackstone Senior.
Yes, also known as the Great Blackstone. What number?
God, I'm so good at guessing. I don't know, 7?
Number 6, idiot.
Oh, fuck.
Your magic is worn off.
Yep.
1885 to 1965, this guy lived. He's from Chicago. He began his career as a magician in his teens and was popular through World War II as a USO entertainer. Blackstone Sr. was aided by his younger brother, Pete, who was the stage manager in all of his shows. Now, he's most famous for sawing a woman in half. This one was different, though, because Alex mentioned the traditional one most of us have seen, where there's two people in two separate boxes and they make it look like one person being separated. Okay, imagine how mind-blowing that trick was, by the way, the first time these simpletons saw it in the 1800s. Blackstone did it differently. He put a woman, it's always a woman for some reason, but that's what it says, a woman. He strapped a woman to a board and she was like restrained down with clamps on her midsection, and the board would move forward to a spinning saw, kind of like a saw trap in the movie Saw. It's like you're on a board flat, restrained, and your body's being pushed forward toward an electric buzz saw. And he'd cut through some wood right in front of the audience to show that it's a real saw, and then the woman would go right up into it, and she would appear to be being up against the saw, and she would scream, and ripping sounds were heard, and particles from the board were scattered out to make it look like she was being sawn, and then they'd pull her back and she'd step off and she was fine. So to me, it seems like that is a trick, and I watched this on YouTube. It's super low quality. It looks like it's from the 20s or something, but if anyone wants to see it, it's on the link there. To me, it looked like a misdirection where people are distracted by the sounds and the particles of wood being splattered, strewn about.
Yeah.
They don't notice that the woman's body never touches the saw and all the chaos, But
Makes sense.
anyway, that's it. Oh, also this guy, he was so famous and popular in the 1940s, he was also the star of a comic book series.
Oh. Harry Blackstone.
Harry Blackstone
Did he also
Sr.
start the Blackstone company that makes grills? You know about Blackstone grills?
I'll have to check my notes. I'll have to check with my research assistant on that one, Alex.
Got it.
Fucking Blackstone grill. God damn. Ridiculous. The shit I gotta deal with. Okay.
Give me another hint.
I'm going to go through the list first. You got 10, Blackstone Jr. You're missing 9, 8, 7. 6 is Blackstone Sr. You're missing 5. And then at 4, you got David Blaine. And then David Copperfield, and then Penn and Teller. You guessed one at Harry Houdini, but we have not talked about him yet. Your next hint will go number 9. This guy is known by one word. He has a one-word name. It's a nickname. He's still alive. He was born in 1982. He's a British magician. None of that helping you?
No, not at all.
Real name Stephen Frayne is known as Dynamo.
Never heard of Dynamo.
And his TV show Dynamo, Magician Impossible, ran from 2011 to 2014. He won a bunch of awards for that. He has toured the world since in his Seeing is Believing arena tour, which has been seen by over 750,000 people. You want to know how he got the name, Alex?
How did he get the
magic
name?
About it? Impressed by his magic display, a member of a crowd shouted out, quote, "This kid is effing Dynamo!"
And it stuck.
And the name stuck. That's it.
I love that.
Dynamo was on Forbes' list of the highest paid magicians in 2016 and 17. I watched a little bit of his magic. There's a link on YouTube there. Mostly just kind of street magic, card tricks, things like that. Nothing too crazy like some of the other shit we've talked about.
Normal bullshit.
Apparently he's good, yeah. Okay.
But number 8. Any hints for number 8?
Okay, this guy was from the 1800s, and he's widely recognized as the father of the modern style of magic.
Interesting.
And his name inspired Harry Houdini's name. None of that helps?
Larry Houdini?
Okay. Number 8 is Jean Eugène Robert-Houdin.
Okay, never heard of him.
He lived between 1805 and 1871. He was a French. That's probably why you never heard of him.
Bleu.
Omelette du. You saw Dexter's Lab, right? The Omelette du fromage. I was in France a few weeks ago, and one of the many joys was none of my family, well, obviously my kids hadn't, but my wife, who's my age, had also not seen this Dexter's Lab, and I was telling them about the Omelette du fromage episode, and we heard about Omelette du fromage for the rest of the trip from my children. That's all.
Nice.
Omelette du fromage. He was a French watchmaker, magician, and illusionist. He transformed magic from a pastime for the lower classes, seen at fairs and street magic, to an entertainment for the wealthy, which he offered in a theater opened in Paris, a legacy preserved by the tradition of modern magicians performing in tail. So like the type of magician that wears that coat that has like the tail on the end of it, you know? So this guy is very influential in the history of magic. He combined his mechanical abilities along with showmanship, humor, and artistic handling to produce his illusions. The number of tricks he invented for his theater was extensive, but his most remarkable one was the light and heavy chest. He took advantage of the infancy of the usage of electricity to his advantage. Again, this is mid-1800s. Robert-Houdin brought on a small wooden box about a foot wide. He said that he had found a way to protect it from thieves. He asked a spectator to lift it, usually a small child. So the child would walk up, take the chest, like a dresser chest. He'd take the chest, the kid could be able to lift it off the ground with ease. Then an adult male would be brought up, and the exact same chest, the adult male could not lift it. It would not budge. So that's the trick.
How do you do it?
I don't fucking know. A magician never tells his secrets, Alex.
Damn, well, 200 years later?
Aren't you paying attention?
Yeah.
After his death in 1871, his home in Blois, France, was been transformed into a museum. Now, Harry Houdini was so impressed that he, after reading his autobiography in 1890, adopted the stage name of Houdini in his honor. But Houdini, later, after he became famous, lost his youthful respect for Robert-Houdin, believing that he took unique credit for other magicians' innovations, and Houdini wrote his own book, The Unmasking of Robert-Houdin, in 1908, where he tried to expose him as a fraud.
Oh, shit.
So this guy's super influential. There's museums around him. He's the father of modern magic, but the most famous magician of all time, Harry Houdini, said, no, fam. Don't like this guy. He's a fraud. Yeah.
Drama in the magic world.
Alex, what would you do if you were called up on stage? So this is 1850. You just got done shitting in the street. Nobody's clean. You haven't had your monthly bath yet. You are lucky to be wearing shoes that are broken and need to be repaired. And you have dirt on your face. You're called up to stage. And a little kid, like the kid in Oliver Twist, that says, "May I have another, sir?" That kid is able to lift this chest over his head like it's nothing. And then you walk up and you can't lift it a fucking inch. What do you do?
I'd say that tracks. I'm not known for my muscular capacity.
No. That's okay. We can't all be known for our muscular capacity. Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Alex is reeling from my flexing I just did. Okay, well, you just need 2 more and then Harry will do last. So 2 more you haven't guessed yet. Number 7 is Lance Burton. He's still around. He's from 1960 is when he was born. He's an American stage magician who's performed at more than 15,000 shows in Vegas in front of over 5 million people until he retired in 2010. He was twice voted the Magician of the Year by the Academy of Magical Arts, and today he serves as a judge on Criss Angel's Magic with the Stars. Why haven't you guessed Criss Angel?
No, I don't know who that is.
You probably know him.
Yeah.
He's like a YouTube star, kind of like David Blaine. He's not on the list, though. I watched some of his shit. Again, link in the show notes. He did a trick. He did a bunch of these. He does a lot of stuff with birds. And I don't mean like the way you do stuff with birds.
Right.
I mean, so what he did is he took a flame, like a flame. He put it on the end of like a magic, what are those magic sticks called? You know, like the little black with the white tip on it.
A wand?
Yeah, maybe. It's like bigger than a wand. Anyway, he had a wand of some kind, and he put a flame on it. The flame traveled down the wand into his hand. He held the flame in his naked hand, and then threw it at the audience, and in midair it turned into a dove and flew to him and landed on his shoulder.
That's fun.
And then the dove was a living dove. You could tell it was alive, and he took the dove, squished it in his hands, and then out came like a handkerchief where the dove had been.
The dove tricks is in that Arrested Development show is like the staple of what the Will Arnett's character does, but you always finding like dead doves in his apartment from like failed tricks and stuff like that.
I mean, I have to assume the dove is in his sleeve somewhere.
Yeah.
But I don't know how or why. I mean, I think doves are pretty trainable for birds, you know? I mean, you train them to do the weird shit you do with them, so...
And then, you mentioned calling them tricks. One of the catchphrases in the show is he'll say, "It's an illusion. A trick is something a whore does for money."
Alex, I just got a... Do you want to change? Do you want to just make this tennis podcast?
You really should watch it.
to...
Like, honestly, it is the best comedy show of all time.
This is the Arrested Development podcast. I'm Nick Amell. This is Alex Johns. Alex, take us through season 1 of Arrested Development.
Better than The Office.
He hasn't watched The Office, just so everyone knows. All right. Are you ready for number 5? Because I'm not doing this slanderous shit anymore about The Office.
Give me number 5.
Shin Lim. He's born in 1991. He's the youngest one on the list, and he's still current. I thought maybe you saw him. He's a YouTube guy, YouTube star. That's how he's discovered, is through YouTube. You should watch his shit. It's incredible. He is the Canadian on the list, Canadian-American, recognized for his use of card manipulation and sleight of hand. He is known for elaborate close-up card magic routines during which he remains silent with the tricks set to music. Originally educated to be a pianist, Lim took up magic as his career after being diagnosed with carpal tunnel syndrome. So I guess he wasn't able to play piano anymore, but he still loves music, so he incorporates the music he loves into his magic shows. He won America's Got Talent in 2018, and I don't know if he won, but he was at least on America's Got Talent, The Champions, in a later year. He is self-taught. He learned all of his magic on his own from watching YouTube, and he compares his act to the movie Inception in that it is artistic yet accessible to the masses. Shin Lim. So I watched him. The stuff I watched with him was mostly card tricks, but they were like incredible. Like some of the most incredible card magic I've seen. So
yeah, I'll have to check him out.
I don't know if it's incredible as finding a card in a sliced orange in Harrison Ford's kitchen, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Can you explain that one to me? Like seriously, what's your best guess?
I have
How do you get the card
idea.
there?
Who fucking knows?
Alex. All right. Well, are you enchanted so far?
I am enchanted with this list. And why don't you tell me a little bit more about Harry Houdini?
He's number 1. I got the most notes on him, so I wanted to save the best for last. Harry Houdini was born in 1874 as Eric Wise. He was a Hungarian-American escape artist, illusionist, and stunt performer, noted for his escape acts. Houdini first attracted notice in vaudeville in the United States, and then as Harry handcuffed Houdini on a tour of Europe, where he challenged police forces to keep him locked up. Soon he extended his repertoire to include chains, ropes slung from skyscrapers, straitjackets underwater, and having to escape from and hold his breath inside a sealed milk can with water in it.
A milk can?
Yeah.
It's a big fucking can.
Yeah, his head's in the milk can.
How big is a milk can?
I don't fucking know. This is
I'm just thinking like fucking little you take a drink out of. How do you stick your head in that?
This milk can must have been bigger than that, Alex.
I need you to do a little more research on this milk can.
I'm moving on.
Okay.
In 1904, thousands watched as Houdini tried to escape from special handcuffs commissioned by London's Daily Mirror, keeping them in suspense for an hour. His most famous escape was from handcuffs and being buried alive, Chinese water torture, and this is the one I watched. They put him in a straitjacket, tight as can be. They handcuffed it, and then they took his feet by like a crane and hung him upside down in the straitjacket from way high up. And you watch him, and he wiggles free of the straitjacket and then comes down to the ground. He rides a rope down to the ground. And he did it in a few minutes. He made it look easy.
Wow.
I don't know how, and that's not magic, that's just
that's just skill. And
that's just escape skill.
Yeah.
But Houdini also had a passion for exposing frauds and exposing spiritualists. So who's that lady that had the crystal ball on TV in the 90s?
I know who you're talking about. Madam,
I can't remember her
right?
name. Yeah. But people like that, not that she was around in his day, but people like that he liked to expose. He was the president of the Society of American Magicians. He was keen to uphold professional standards and expose frauds. And that's why he was very vehemently against Eugène Robert-Houdin, and Houdini wrote a book in 1908 trying to expose him. Okay, so more about Houdini. He was also an actor. He made several movies, but quit acting when it failed to bring in money. Maybe I should quit podcasting when it fails to bring in money, but that's another story. Maybe you can just tie me in a straitjacket upside down, Alex. I actually don't.
You should record our next episode that way.
Being upside down for 20 seconds would really stress me the fuck out.
Yeah.
Being upside down in a straitjacket, secured by chains, several stories high, no.
It's the wildest thing. Nobody is making these people do this.
No, nobody's asking you to do this, Harry. You don't got to do it. We believe you. You're great. You're magical, but don't. Anyway, so it's not enough that this guy's an actor and an escape artist, magician, world famous. He also was an aviator.
You fly planes?
Yeah, he flew planes. And this is, he died in 1926. So planes were invented in 1901, I want to say, something like that. So these are early planes that he's flying. And he died before he could do it, but he had wanted to be the first man to fly a powered aircraft in Australia. In his final years, this is in 1925 and 26. Let's see, he would have been in his early 50s, I believe. Yeah, age 52. This is interesting. I never read any of this. Do you know how he died?
I don't know.
Okay, so this is 1925, 1926. He launched his own full evening show, which he billed as 3 shows in one: Magic Escapes and Fraud Mediums Exposed. He was very passionate about that. But anyway, he died on October 31st, 1926 at age 52 from peritonitis, which is the swelling of the abdomen. Now, there's several theories about why. One is that he had appendicitis, simple. But what seems more likely to me is there was an incident about a week and a half before. He was at a show in Montreal, and in his dressing room, this guy came up who, let's see, his name was Jocelyn Whitehead. It's a man, but Jocelyn Whitehead, who walked up to him and he asked Houdini if he believed in the miracles of the Bible. And he asked Houdini whether it was true that punches in the stomach did not hurt him. Houdini offered a casual reply that his stomach could endure a lot. Big mistake, because Whitehead then delivered, unprovoked, some very hammer-like punches below the belt.
What an asshole.
Yeah, he just starts wailing away on Houdini's so the lower abdomen, between the winky and the tummy. Yeah, he punched him as hard as he could. I don't know how many, but it makes it sound like a dozen times. And Houdini was sitting on a couch with a broken ankle at the time, so he was unable to protect himself. And Houdini finally, he only winced slightly. He didn't appear to be in great pain, but he finally gestured that he had had enough. But Houdini later, he got up and performed his show. He had a broken ankle and he had just been punched as hard as possible below the belly button, 20 times. He goes out and performs his magic show. And he had insomnia, and he remained in constant pain for the next 2 days, unable to sleep, but did not seek medical help. Harry, I don't know why he didn't do that. When he finally did see a doctor, he had a fever and acute appendicitis and was advised to have immediate surgery. But he said, nah, and he decided to go on with more magic shows.
He's probably too busy trying to expose these doctors for fraud.
Yeah. Alex, explain to me. You think you have appendicitis. What do you do? You probably go to the emergency room.
To the fucking doctor, and I'll do exactly what the doctor tells me to.
Thank you.
To a T. I will not question it.
Yeah. Well, Alex is biased. He is married to a doctor, everyone, just to be fair.
Think about all the high-profile people that would still or could still be alive had they just listened to fucking doctors. Steve Jobs come to mind and stuff like that. I just wonder, when you get to a certain level of notoriety where you just think you are God on earth, does it get to the point to where you just don't trust experts you think you are the expert? You know what I'm trying to say?
I think that's part of it. I think in Harry Houdini, in particular, think about this. This guy survived being in a straitjacket upside down. He survived being chained up and thrown into water. He survived all this shit. He's got to think he's untouchable.
Yeah, if I can survive all that, I can survive whatever the fuck this is.
But even if he thinks he can survive, appendicitis is fucking painful. And he has acute appendicitis after being punched in the gut like a week before. He has a fever, and instead of doing a surgery that the doctor recommends, he does more magic shows, and it cost him because he ended up dying a few days later. So people speculate, it's not the official cause of death, but people speculate, as I do after reading this, that his cause of death was caused by these punches to the stomach, which later resulted in appendicitis. So Harry Houdini, I mean, he died at 52. He could have had a long life ahead of him, but he was a dumb, as the late great Brandon Kaufman might have said.
Do you have any notes on any magicians like dying from one of their like tricks or illusions?
I don't, but you reminded me of something I meant to say a minute ago. You said, imagine all the people, the famous people that could still be alive today, like Steve Jobs, if they just listened to doctors' advice. It's true. But let's think of all the people that are not alive because they listen to doctors' advice, especially in the old-timey doctors, right? Like people pre, 1800s, they're sticking leeches on themselves and all kinds of shit. They're bloodletting.
Got ghosts in your blood.
George Washington died from stuff like that. He was sick too, but like he might have survived if not for some of that. So it goes both ways. To your question, I'm sure magicians have died from attempting tricks. You could say Houdini died from it because one of his things was that he had a strong stomach, and he told this guy that his stomach could withstand a lot, and the guy started punching him in the gut. So, it's just a wild time.
I was just going to put this out there. My stomach cannot withstand a lot, so please don't punch it next time you see me.
Bro, I can barely eat a spicy meal anymore. There's no way I'm going to let some huge man that just asked me weirdly, do you believe the miracles in the Bible? And then before you have a chance to answer, he immediately starts punching you in the stomach over and over. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, Harry Houdini, most famous magician of all time by far. There's all kinds of museums dedicated to him. I read that a lot of his props and shit were lost to fires and things like that, though. But a lot of it's still out there. So Harry Houdini, listener to the show.
Did he have any kids? Did you know? Did you see any notes on that?
I don't, but I'm going to look it up real quick because I'm actually curious.
Is there a Houdini descendant alive today?
I want to say no, but I'll check. Did have a spouse. Let's see. Was a Freemason.
Oh.
Okay, he lived in this house, which was built in 1895, and lived in it with his wife, Bess, and other relatives until his death in 1926. In March 2018, that house was purchased for $3.6 million. This is in New York City. It does not mention kids. It mentions his wife and relatives, but no kids. So I do not think... Oh, I forgot to tell you this. He was going to be exhumed in 2007.
Oh.
So he died in 1926. Almost 100 years later, they were going to exhume him because there was a theory that he had been murdered by spiritualists who were mad at him for exposing them. It ended up falling through and they didn't do it, but they were preparing to take his body out of the grave. I don't know. Exhuming a body that's 100 years old? I wouldn't want to be there for that.
What if you take him out and then... I'm not dead.
he would have broken David Blaine's record for longest time with their breath held for 90 years or whatever. So which magician on this list, let me go through them again, and you tell me which one was the most impressive. You'd want to know how they do the trick the most.
Yeah.
And number 10, Harry Blackstone Jr. Number 9, Dynamo. Don't forget his name. That kid is effing Dynamo.
Dynamo.
All it took. Number 8, John Eugène Robert-Houdin, who inspired the name of Houdini. Number 7, Lance Burton. He is the one that threw a flame at the audience and it turned into a flying bird. Number 6, Harry Blackstone Sr. He was the one who had sawing someone in half trick. Number 5 is Shin Lim. He is a Canadian-American, still alive today, famous on YouTube, card magician. David Blaine is number 4. Most of us know who he is. He has the record for longest breath held. He did the ice trick. He's on YouTube. He put a card in Harrison Ford's orange. Number 3 is David Copperfield, the richest magician of all time. He was in Vegas forever. He made the Statue of Liberty disappear. He levitated over the Grand Canyon. but he's also maybe on Jeffrey Epstein's list. Number 2, Penn and Teller. They're most famous for a TV show. Number 1, Harry Houdini, who was an escape artist, most notably.
In terms of like, want to know how they do it? I mean, it's got to be number 1, Houdini. Like, I think he's got the most interesting fucking shit that he did, you know, way back then, way back in the day.
Yeah, way back in the day before modern
When we were all
medicine, before
shitting
modern
in the streets.
We were shitting in the streets. You could shit in the street and then turn your head this way. Move your field of vision from the person next to you shit in the street, and look at Harry Houdini down the street, hanging upside down in a straitjacket.
Yeah,
that he escapes.
Shitting out of a straitjacket.
Shitting out of a straitjacket. It is wild too that Harry Houdini was famous during his lifetime, and it's just from newspapers and live performances. I don't know that he was on TV for magic. He was an actor. He did movies and shit. It's possible he did stuff on TV. I guess he did, because there's YouTube clips that I watched that were from like broadcasts. So yeah, I guess he did. Anyway, yeah, Houdini.
Cool list.
And I like that he exposed frauds too.
Yeah.
But there's nothing fraudulent about you, dear listener. It warms my heart more than a magic dove flying from a flame that you listen to this episode. I want you to follow us on social media, because I'm going to share YouTube links this week showing some of the magic tricks we talked about today, as well as some others we didn't talk about. I want to know what you thought of this list and what you think of this magic. We're on X, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, Reddit, TikTok, at TennishPod. That's at 10ISHPOD. Links to all those are also in the show notes. Alex, any final magical words?
This is a magical list, and I feel better now knowing it.
Great. Don't punch Alex in the tummy. He has a very weak tummy.
I'm very sensitive.
The magical Canadian Brad Choma will be back next week for episode number 260. And if you want to hear it early before anyone else and ad-free, go to tennispod.com/plus. Until then, thanks for listening. He's Alex. I'm Nick. And now for our final trick, we will disappear.
Bye.